It is done. I have 100%ed Sonic Frontiers. And as you can see from the title of this video, I had a lot of fun with this game. But will you? Let's find out. Sonic Team has been making 3D Sonic games for over 20 years, and in that time have not been able to develop a baseline for Sonic's control. Well, they changed things up massively in this game by giving that control to you. Speed levels, boost levels, turning speed, acceleration, and more are options that allow you to customize Sonic's handling exactly to your personal preference. And I loved it. Fluidity and flow state are most important to Sonic's control for me, and I don't think any 3D Sonic game to date does this as well as Frontiers. Being able to move is the best it's ever felt, and it only gets better over time as you level up Sonic the more you explore, as well as finding out the secrets to going even faster. Combat is something I've always wanted Sonic Team to give another shot with Sonic. We've seen Sonic do so many cool things in shows, comics, the recent movies, hell, cutscenes of games, and then you play the games themselves and that speed and power fantasy of being the fastest thing alive doesn't really translate until now, because this is the speed and power fantasy Sonic game I have been waiting for. Frontiers combat strikes a solid middle ground between style and substance. I was pleasantly surprised with how engaged I got with the combo systems. You get basic fundamentals and abilities to start, but eventually will be chaining dozens of abilities and moves together. I loved improving, and because there's so much visual flair with the attacks, you have a strong visual showcase of your skills and when you're getting better. Maxing the combo meter out to do a phantom rush will never get old. Can't wait to see where they go with combat next, not just for Sonic but for other characters in the future too. Enemy variety is great in this game. Their designs also give a great change of pace from the traditional badniks. The guardians and bosses though are where this game excels. Those are the best opportunities to test your abilities and reflexes. They get better as you go on and offer great diversity with the types of battles you'll have. All of these culminating in the supersonic boss fights at the end of each island. I refuse to spoil a second of these. You deserve to experience and discover these for yourself. All I will say is that they are the most over-the-top, hype-inducing, bonkers craziness that Sonic Team has ever done, and I loved all of these boss fights. They gave me emotions and reactions that I've never felt before, and I've wanted to feel in a Sonic game. Absolutely fantastic. This game nails the intrinsic motivation I wanted it to have where I always wanted to explore. To see some item, challenge, or boss in the distance and go, I gotta do that. I had that feeling throughout this game. And after the first 30 minutes, which is pretty tutorial heavy and handholdy, the game just really lets you discover things at your own pace and explore the worlds at your leisure. I always took the first hour of each island to just run around and do things as they happened. Whatever activities you love to do most, the game is also structured in a way that lets you choose how you progress, how you level Sonic. The adventure is in your hands at all times. I had way more fun with Cyberspace than I thought I would. It was tough at first. You're so used to the speed of the open world, and Cyberspace's pace is more reserved, but once I got the Cyberspace handling down, I had a great time mastering them. Out of the 30 levels, I only disliked 2. Every other level I either liked or loved, and I enjoyed the replayability of my favorites that either had cool pathways or tough completion challenges. Cyberspace and Frontiers feels like a test bed. Sonic Team experimenting with past and present of linear Sonic stages to try to see what the future of them should be. That's why you get bits of boost formula, bits of adventure formula, and bits of new stuff. It's cool to see level beats from my favorite 3D Sonics reimagined in this way. But the new levels really shine. And considering the way the story establishes Cyberspace, there is no limitation to the creativity that can be done with this concept in the future. I think if they tune the speed up a bit next time, bring different aesthetics to the table, and continue to build on the great levels they have here, they are on track to finding that sweet spot for linear Sonic levels. Throughout Frontiers, I was consistently surprised with the amount of charm this game oozes. The expressiveness of characters and cutscenes, the reaction animations you see when Sonic catches an item with Big, or when he gets jiggy with it alongside the Coco. There's so many cute little moments throughout the game that just made me smile because I'm seeing the Sonic Team I fell in love with as a child back. This game gives off the energy Sonic Team had in the late 90s and early 2000s. You'll be running through an island and go, wait, what even is this game? Am I playing Tetris right now? Toho right now? Collectathon Disco Fever to further my fishing addiction? Frontiers gives off insane Dreamcast-era Sonic Team energy, but unlike that era where many ideas were too much or just didn't stick, I had fun with the majority of the activities and ideas presented here. This game is never afraid to mix things up just for fun's sake, and I really appreciated that. It always kept me on my toes and excited for the next activity. I am so happy that Sonic Team took every opportunity to keep the mystery for Frontier's story. I love Ian Flynn and was so happy he was getting involved, but there was that fear in the back of my mind of what Sonic Team would give him to work with. Thankfully, I couldn't be happier to have those fears dashed immediately once the game started. Ian Flynn nailed the writing in this game. He needs to be a staple going forward. His script was excellent throughout Frontiers. Every character, and I mean every character, has an arc and growth. There are lore reveals and answers to questions people have had for decades, Easter eggs that will have you losing your mind. The story surpassed every expectation I had, to the point that certain emotional moments got me choked up. This is easily my favorite video game story for the Blue Blur and its crew. Helping add to this story are the performances. Voice director Jack Fletcher really lets the cast take the voices in a new direction to suit the new story. I've always enjoyed Roger Craig Smith's Sonic voice, but this is easily his best performance to date. The maturity suits his naturally bassy range and works beautifully combined with Flint's dialogue. The voice he goes for in this game is damn near identical to the one I have had for Sonic in my head when reading IDW. It's the tone I've wanted Sonic to have for years, and Roger was superb here. And every other cast member shines too. Colleen O'Shaughnessy continues to knock her Tails performance out of the park. Cindy Robinson takes Amy in a really heartfelt and sincere direction, and this ended up being my all-time favorite voice for Amy. Dave B. Mitchell nails Knuckles, bringing a spirit and confidence that felt refreshing and new at the same time. Mike Pollock, who has always slayed as the Doctor, takes Eggman to a very human, vulnerable place that is unlike any Eggman performance anyone has done before. Collect the egg memos when you're fishing with Big. It's worth it for Pollock's performance alone. He is brilliant in this game. And newcomer to the franchise, Ryan Bartley, did a fantastic job with Sage. Mastered that deadpan AI voice with just the right amount of subtlety underneath. There's only one way to say this. Frontier soundtrack is godlike. Sonic music has always been fantastic, but this OST takes things up a notch. It is constantly giving you new tracks to bop your head to and soars in its diversity of tones. You go through the islands and hear these beautiful, serene movements that help set the atmosphere. Then you jump into cyberspace and it becomes a vivid kaleidoscope of genres. You go fish with Big and it becomes chill beats to save Coco and eat chili dogs too. And then the vocal tracks are all masterclass. I'm Here and Vandalize are both phenomenal, and the Titan boss fight tracks as well as the credit songs are wonderful. The volume, depth, and consistency of this OST is off the charts. Tomoyo Otani has created his magnum opus, and every musical collaborator involved should be proud of the work they've done. Once this album drops, it is a day one purchase. Aesthetically, I dug this game. It was cool to see Sonic in a new environment, exploring abandoned ancient tech, visiting the different biomes, going through days and nights as well as different weather. I get where critics are coming from of the photorealistic world and rails in the air being jarring, but once you play it, it makes more sense. I like that Sonic Team tried something different, and I was impressed at certain set piece locations like the falls on the first island or the flower fields on the last. And more than anything, it excites me to see what a future installment could do in terms of the open zones. I never had a frame drop in gameplay. One of the smoothest Sonic games I've played on that front, ran at a great 60 FPS the entire time. Hop-in is still a present issue though. Weirdly, I'm noticing it more now looking back at footage than I did when I was playing the game itself. I think it's just because my focus was on Sonic or specific goals ahead, and I didn't notice it most of the time. And it's weird how inconsistent it is. Sometimes in the same frame, you'll see an object do a nice fade transition, but another go from 0 to 1 and pop in. It is noticeable, but it never gets in the way of your ability to move and platform. This seems like a twofold issue where Hedgehog engine is being stretched thin and struggling to load in smaller textures and objects, as well as this game being multi-platform. Either way, I hope the technical critiques are acknowledged and that SEGA gives Sonic Team the resources to ensure issues like this won't happen in the future. And if the truth is they need a new iteration of Hedgehog engine, or need to work in an engine like Unreal or another third party going forward, I hope they do it. Because in terms of genuine critiques I have for Frontiers, Poppin' is the only critical one for me. The game has its fair share of jank. Sometimes you're running through the world and the camera will get hijacked because of an enemy or platforming section. It's weird that one of the Grandpa Cocos does automatic upgrades while the other has you go one level at a time. like they nailed one and then just didn't with the other for whatever reason. And this was the big one for me. You can't replay the supersonic battles, which needs to be an option as soon as possible. But besides these issues, I had a great time with everything else this game has to offer. I adore the game that we got, but a part of me does wish that Sega gave Sonic Team a few extra months to polish things. Sega apparently wanted this game to be released last year, which makes me happy that Takashi Iizuka fought against them to give his dev team more time. Because when Sega gives this studio time to reach for the stars, games like Frontiers happen where you get to be reminded what Sonic Team is capable of. I had a blast in Frontiers, and I say that with full cognizance that not everyone will enjoy this, or if they do, not have as much fun as I did. Frontiers is a bizarre, unique game that is incredibly experimental, but games like this are what made me fall in love with this franchise as a kid. Frontiers feels like the conclusion to the Dreamcast era of Sonic games that never got to be made. It's a game that shows that Sonic Team listened to so much of the feedback and criticism of the past few years. It also brings a new ambition I haven't seen from them before. I never thought they would make Sonic an action game again, try open zones, or bring in Ian Flynn, and they did all of that in this game. Show that this franchise can do more than what's been given, that there can be new levels of depth to redefine the franchise. Frontiers doesn't take half steps, it takes a massive leap forward with damn near everything it does. That landing is shaky, but it sticks, and writing this now days after I beat the game, I'm still in awe that they did it. Sonic Team made a good 3D Sonic game, unbelievably fun and full of so much heart. Without question, this is my favorite 3D Sonic game of all time. I've been playing my favorite Sonic games before Frontiers came out thanks to the Steam Deck. I wanted them fresh in my mind, and yeah, days later, this is still the most fun I have ever had with a 3D Sonic game. From start to 100% completion, I had a grin on my face the whole time. They fulfilled so many dreams I've waited my whole life to play, and gave me an adventure that I will be eternally thankful for. If Frontiers is Sonic Team's statement on what the future of 3D Sonic can be, the possibilities are endless for it. Whatever comes next, I hope they take all the time and resources necessary to make a sequel that can continue to bring the magic. I have so many videos I can't wait to make about Frontiers, talking about what I would love to see in DLC, or the next game, about the story, where it takes lore, theories about the future, playing mods. But for now, I'm happy. I'm seeing that other Sonic fans and other gaming fans are happy. 2022 was the year for my Blue Boy, and it's one I won't forget because of games like this. Thank you for watching this video. Covering Frontiers over the past year and a half has been one hell of a journey, and I'm so glad the payoff was worth it. Massive shout out to Nighttopian, my boy TJ, for making the thumbnail you're seeing right now. It's been an absolute honor and pleasure to work with him, as well as Cloudstrian on my thumbnails recently. They've been killing it. I miss doing longer form video essays like this and definitely want to do more of them in the future. I have 2 special ones planned for hitting 2,000 subs, so stay tuned for that. And if you're still listening to this, you're the best. It's a real blessing to be able to talk about the things I love and am passionate about with such a kick-ass community. I thought about the title of this video for a while, and when I think of the number one word this game gave me, it was joy. This game made me feel like a kid again. And to see that so many others are experiencing that too is the best feeling ever. Now, if you'll excuse me, time to jump into Ragnarok and experience that masterpiece. You are awesome, amazing. Thank you for watching, and have a blessed one.